subject is changes and stages in the parent-child relationship. Staying attuned to your growing child. Now, I take titles seriously. Yeah? This is very thought through. And I hope we'll learn something tonight, and we'll have time for questions. How long should I be speaking? 15 minutes. That's when the big hand hits the 5. Right. Okay, yes. In Lashon HaKodesh, the word for life is Chaim. Chaim is in the plural. It's always in the plural. Chaim Aruchim, Chaim Beruchim. Emes is always in the singular. Why? My favorite question is why? So there's a mashal, there's a thing called a prism. The prism, white light goes in one side, and then it changes into different colors. Each color is an expression of that white light. I'm saying something very important now. And it's the basis of everything we're going to talk about tonight, and basis of many other things. Rabbi Yerucham, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, he said, there's two kinds of stubbornness. Now, if you will remember that HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Moshe Rabbeinu had a face-off. Hashem said, I'm going to destroy them, because they are stubborn people. And Moshe said, no, wait a minute. They're stubborn people. Well, since when does the defense attorney agree to the prosecution? He just said you're right. Like, what's the shot? So the Vilna Gaon says, yes, they're stubborn. It's hard to get to them. But once you got him, you got him. They'll be stubborn for you. You think it's a problem, it's an asset. But Rabbi Yerucham says something, nothing short of genius. There's two kinds of stubbornness. One kind of stubbornness is, I am not changing. Doesn't matter where I am, what time it is, I'm the same. That's a stupid stubbornness. So then I'm going to stop. Have to change. I'm still stubborn, I still have to speak Yiddish. That's a bad stubbornness. Things change. Times change. They do change. And you have to know the white light now is red. It used to be blue. It's not white it's not red anymore. There's another kind of stubbornness. I'm not changing. These are my truths of life, and you can't make me change them. You can't make me change them. That's good stubbornness, Rabbi Yerucham says. The stubbornness of the real priorities of life, that's the white light. That doesn't change. But the stubbornness to say, it's blue, I always follow the blue light. So, wait a minute. No, things don't change. No, that's a mistake. The Osher of Zecher Tzadik Livrocha. Now, I want to take a few seconds to, many of you probably never heard of the Osher of a Rebbe. The Osher of a Rebbe wrote 20 volumes. The Eish Das and the Be'er Moshe, replete, every page full of sources, really from everywhere. An American would say, from left field. From everywhere. 20 volumes. He was blind. He was a very great Jew. I was sitting on the bus, and comes to me, Rav Ram Segal. I said, you're reading the Be'er Moshe? I lived in Tel Aviv. That's where his Hasidus was. He used to come, and he used to speak, a lot of Rebbes would speak at Shalosh Shabbos. So I said, one day I decided, I'm going to finish Shabbos, have my, what one woman calls a death stick, which is known to you as a cigarette. So he took his cigarette, and he came walking way in the back of a big room. As soon as he walked into the room, he was blind. He said, "Der is Shabbos all again for dog. The person who's not in Shabbos anymore is bothering him. Leave." It was far away. He was a very great Jew. He said the following word. The word in Hebrew, yeah? The word in Hebrew for a successful person is ish. Ish means a successful person. It comes from the word ish. Someone who knows how to rule and ish, Aleph, Yud, Shin. It's an acronym for Emsa, Yamin, Smile. Middle, right, and left. Sometimes it's this way and sometimes it's that way. You have to be able to adapt. Okay? Rabbi Shol Salanta, when there were Jews who were in droves, were being Machal Shabbos in Kovna Harbor. So he told them, carry the keys to your store with a shinoi, in an unusual way. It turns the malach into a drabanan. Write your accounts in an unusual way. So it's no longer a Torahic prohibition. And it changed them, by the way. They started feeling Shabbos. They were doing something for Shabbos. So he understood that this is what these people mean. Now you have to know what you're doing. You have to know halacha. You have to have a rebbe. Otherwise you can't just say, well, things are different now. I'll do things differently. It's not, wait a minute. Yeah? But he knew that times have changed. And we have to do things differently. So the kernel of what we're going to be talking about is where's the white light? You know, every generation is different. You know, changes in parent-child relationships. You know, we think we have a tremendous war with the Yetzer Hara. It's called an iPhone. Once a year I go to Chile. Yeah. Daniel Halpern. You know who Daniel Halpern is? So they call him Taliban in Chile. Taliban is these, terrorists that no one likes except for the Taliban like. Yeah? And I started telling him, I had breakfast, and I started telling him what I thought about iPhones. He looked at me very condescendingly, and he sent me a book. If you have any question about what this will do to your child, so read it. It's called GLOW, G-L-O-W, Kids. And you will find out that his life is being destroyed. Now you will tell me, but it's 2020. Sure not 2020 vision, that's for sure it's not. Yeah? Okay, it's 2020. What can we do? Parents called me up from the United States, and so I told them, but he'll go off the derech. It's America. So 3 days after he had the iPhone, he was already talking to girls. Now, I am not here on a crusade. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just talking about the sign to the door. The test of this generation. It's no longer life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It's life, liberty, and pursuit of pleasure. Do I enjoy this? And I just told the teachers, and maybe you won't like hearing this. Look, I had 3 hours of sleep last night and 3 hours of sleep the night before. So all my inhibitions are down. Okay? Understand? When your child comes home and says, did you enjoy school today? You're ruining your child. Everything is translated on did you enjoy it or not. If I enjoyed it, it's good. If I didn't enjoy it, it's bad. Hey, wait a minute. How are you preparing this fellow for life? There are things you do that you don't enjoy. If you grow up and you're mature, you will enjoy doing things that you don't enjoy because I'm responsible. An infant can wake up a continent by screeching if he needs 3 drops of water and no one gets angry at him. Why? He has no right. He has no responsibilities. An infant, someone has only rights and no responsibilities. And when you have very young children, you have to take care of them. You have to take care of their physical needs. Don't let them cry it out. It works. They sleep. Heroin also works. A lot of things work. This child needs to be attended to. It needs to be, if the mother is deathly sick, or they have no shalom bayit because she doesn't sleep. So then what can I tell you? Children should not be let to cry it out, because in their souls, and this is already, it is not only a Torah idea. If kids cry it out, they grow up to be less confident people later in life. And parents have told me, yes, this was a difference to the kids to let them cry it out. Because something is in that child's soul. In 1, 2, 5 days old, I'm crying and no one is coming. If you can't, you can't. So my mother had a 2-year-old child, and she asked me, she said, I want to go to Canada to a friend's wedding. And I'll be away for a week. When do I tell my 2-year-old that I'm leaving? Do I break it to him slowly? Do I tell him right before I leave? So I'm really sorry. I said to her, what right do you have to go? This kid is going to be a week without his mother. And he's 2 years old. She said, now, if she's going to have a nervous breakdown, or she's going to feel like a prisoner and she won't be a good mother, so let her go. Let her go for 3 weeks also. He needs a mother. But you don't leave children. You take care of them. The first several years of life, you take care of them. They will be spoiled. You'll unspoil them. How you unspoil a child, it's really not a problem. Discipline is the easiest thing in the world. It's not our subject tonight. Discipline is easy. Okay? But you have to be disciplined first. Okay? So, we've had a very long history. So today we have this problem that children want to have pleasure. They want to enjoy. They don't want to do things that are hard. If something is hard, they can't do it. Well, you can't have a successful life if you're not willing to do hard things, like, being happily married. It's hard. It's hard. Okay? Staying healthy is hard today. Do you know, there were much worse generations. They were much harder. In communist Russia, it was almost impossible to raise a child. At the time of Hanukkah, you were a wild-eyed reactionary if you didn't become a Hellenist. Don't you see it's the wave of the future? Every generation has its stuff. Every generation. Dor lidor yishabach masecha. Every door, every generation has a song to sing to Hashem. And some had really, really tough times. We have a challenge today. Things have changed in parent-child relationship. For instance, it used to be that the parent was the parent, and the child had to look up to, respect, obey, which is a bad word to say today. Yeah? So today, it's a child-centered world. Is he happy? Does he feel secure? Is everything okay? And he might go off the derech. So the world has changed where the center is the child, as opposed to where the center was the parent. Now, I'm not trying to say that you should go home and bang on the table and say, hey, from now on, I'm the boss. Because anyone who says they're boss has to say that they're boss. It's a sign that they're not boss. Because the boss doesn't have to say he's boss. I don't want to be misunderstood. But that's our challenge today. Our door is looking for a good time. And part of a good time is not having to work. Parents threaten to sue schools, public schools, if their kid gets too low a grade. My child, his self-esteem will go down. You have to give him a higher grade than he deserves. Now, low self-esteem is also a challenge of a generation. So understanding that, we're going to have to talk about changes in the parent-child relationship. We have, in our family, the difference between the oldest kids, who are 5 minutes apart, and the youngest is 21 years. And the older children said to us, you're treating them differently than you treated us. So part of it is, you get older, you see things are not such a big deal like you thought they were when you were young. It's okay. But things change. Times change. They do change. Okay. So what I'm talking about tonight, is where's the white light? Where are priorities? People want to be able to make decisions in life. People want to decide where. I left that in Israel also. I left all my stuff in Israel, all my shirim. It's like, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. I thought I'd never say this, but Baruch Hashem for computers. Yeah? Because I don't have to, my life is much easier. It's nothing wrong with making something easy. It's okay to make things easy. But the reason isn't, because this Rabbi Yerucham says, easy is good when it frees me up to do more things. Easy is not a value in itself. I want to do things that are easy because I want it to be easy. I want to do things that I don't have to, people, if you push too hard, there's some psychological term that talks about that. You have to push so hard. If there's an easier way to do it, so we'll do it easier. But that's not the reason I'm doing it, because it's easy. Because it frees me up to do more things. Because Rabbi Yerucham asks, there's a thing called mulumada. Mulumada means doing things by rote. It gets a very bad PR in Judaism. You do things by rote? What do you mean? So he says, there must be a good side to rote, or else God wouldn't have not created it. It's part of the human condition that when you do something often enough, it becomes routine. What's the good part of it? So Rabbi Yerucham says in Achrimais. Now I told you who the Osher was. I'll tell you who Rabbi Yerucham was. Rabbi Yerucham was a mashgiach in Nemir. He was probably the greatest educator of the 20th century. And I'll tell you a short story about him. He knew every bacher, inside out. And I was a mashgiach by one of his students, a very great man. And he said Rabbi Yerucham knew exactly what was going on with every bacher and every bacher's sister. And he wasn't in the yeshiva that much. Bachrim got married and they moved away. They got positions, or they went to a different yeshiva. But they would come back, Elul for a Shani and Kippur. They'd come back, and the custom was that Rabbi Yerucham would tell them a vart, but he would charge them for it. One person says, "I have a vart for you." "Yes, Rebbe, how much?" "Every penny or every zloty that you have now." Everything. Says, "Rebbe, how am I going to get home?" It's your problem. It's your problem. Yeah? You don't want to hear the word. Not a problem, so don't hear the word. So the guy gave him everything. Every zloty that he had. I guess he had to borrow money to go home. Several years later, he came back to the yeshiva. Says, "Rebbe, the word you told me saved me." He says, "You're right. I knew you very well. You needed to hear that word. Here's your money back." I remember when I was in Chaim Berlin, Rav Hutner Zatzal gave his Maimorim. Bruria, his daughter, wrote them out, and you had to pay for them. The Gemara says a doctor that heals for nothing is not worth anything. Meaning you don't appreciate him. Pay. He gave it right. It was in his pocket. Here it is. I'm holding it for you. That's what Rabbi Yerucham was. So Rabbi Yerucham says, when I get to do things by rote, that frees me up to do more. That I don't have to worry about anymore. Now I can. So it's not to make things easier. If it's just to make things easier, that gets a bad PR in Judaism. But I want to be able to do more things. I want to do more things. Life is working. My Chavusim went to Rabbi Victor Miller. He was our mashgiach in Chaim Berlin. He said to him, "Rebbe, I'm having trouble with the Yetzer Hara." He says, "No problem. Only the first 100 years are the hardest." Word for word. Only the first 100 years. That's life. There are always going to be challenges. Rav Shon Shvadron told over, I heard it from him, that there was a tzaddik who was on his deathbed. And he said, he told the people around him, the Yetzer Hara has just come to me. and told me to say Shema with great devotion, they should be able to say he was a great tzaddik. He was dying. The Yetzer Hara is at work. Rabbi Isaac Sher called Rabbi Shlomo Hoffman into his house once. Said, I need to speak to you. He said, have you met your Yetzer Hara? Do you know who he is? I have a bigger Yetzer Hara than you do. The bigger you are, the bigger Yetzer Hara is. It's different, but bigger. It's harder. I can't handle that Yetzer Hara. I'll give you an example that comes to mind. I once went up, the last 26 years I've been in Torah, they call me Mashgiach, but whatever. That's a different story. Yeah? I'm not responsible for discipline, so I'm not the Mashgiach. The Bab is the Mashgiach. So anyway, it was midnight. I wasn't coming to see him. He was like 95, at least. I was coming to see his son, Reb Simcha. And the Rosh Yeshiva was still up. And he was he has to get up for sunrise. He's an old man. Has a milchama, has war, has to decide what's the right thing to do. Should he go to sleep? I'm an old man, I'm tired. Or, no, lazy bum one more time. I'll never get that test. It's too hard for me. But he had the test. It's a test. So, you want an easy life? It doesn't work. Okay. So now, we want to get to the next point, which is really white light. There's a Maral. The Maral says, Emtsoi Moira ala Kedusha. The mid way of doing things, the middle road, is Kodesh. It's holy. And he brings something, he brings a raya, he brings a proof. The Hagim, the holidays in Klal Yisrael's calendar are always in temperate times. Nisan and Tishrei are in the middle, not too hot and not too cold. The days of mourning, the two major days of mourning in our history, in our year, is Tisha B'Av, depending on which hemisphere you're in. Either it's very hot or very cold, and Asar B'Tevis. Asar B'Tevis was commemorating a terrible tragedy. Dead winter or dead summer. It's not balanced. Balance. The Rambam talks about the middle road. What does it mean, the middle road? What's the middle road? Middle road. What's the middle road? You know, Rivka was very upset. When I go past the Beis Avodah, the baby wants to come out. When I go past the Shiva Shem Ve'eva, the baby wants to come out. Like, who am I holding? Am I holding a guy who doesn't know what he wants? They say in Yiddish, nicht dahin and nicht daher. Not here nor there. Reb Chaim Weitzman once met Ersel Chaim Sonnenfeld. Zechronai Livrocha. Yeah? They disagreed on what school should look like in Jerusalem. And there was a rabbi there who said, let's make a compromise. So Chaim Weitzman turned to him and said, I know what I believe. Rabbi Sonnenfeld knows what he believes. We disagree. You? I don't think you even know yourself what you believe. Okay? What's a middle road? A middle road is a blend of right and left. I had a student once, no, she wasn't my student. She was a student in a different class, in the same school. She had trouble with God. So they wanted me to meet her to see does she have psychological problems. So it turns out that her father is a devoted atheist, and her mother is a deeply frum woman. So I pointed to the wall and I said, what color is that? So she said green. I said, no, it's not green, it's blue and yellow together. Of course she's confused. There's nothing wrong with her. She didn't get married till her mid-30s because she didn't know who she was even. She loved her father, a very good father, and a very good mother. They just were in different places. But they were not divorced, and they had shalom bayis. Not our subject. I've never seen a divorce over religion. Okay? Not our subject. But the middle road is, I know when it's sometimes like this, and when it's sometimes like that. The white light tells me. There's two exceptions to that. One is gaiva, that you should never have that. Gaiva is the pshat. Who's God? He said, well, I don't have to listen to him. An Eved Hashem is someone who does, he's able to nullify himself to Hashem. That's what we're here for. Moshe Rabbeinu, what's he known for? He's known for being the most humble of people. Why? He can nullify himself to Hashem. The Vilna Gaon's brother said, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't give any donation to the Mishkan. Nothing. Why? Because there were two conditions in order to give a donation to the Mishkan. One is the money had to belong to you. You can't donate with someone else's money. And you also had to feel it was yours. It says, Nediv Lev. One of the conditions to give to the Mishkan was you had to feel you were giving it from your heart. You're giving something of yours. He didn't feel anything was his. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't feel anything was his. He was an Eved. Mashakona Eved Kona Rabbi. A servant doesn't own anything. His master owns everything. How can he give something to the Beis HaMikdash? It's his already. So he couldn't give anything. Here? So that's our function. Rav Moshe Shapiro Zatzal said, why is it that especially young children, but everyone, is afraid of new situations? Something happened. There's a power outage. People become uncomfortable and frightened. Like, what's the problem? The answer is, any change that I can't, I become afraid. Human beings, children, young children, you don't leave them. Now, if your kid is going to kindergarten and he cries when you leave, you have an old, experienced teacher, listen to her. You tell the child, I'm leaving, but I'm coming back. You never, ever, 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 I'm not repeating myself, ever, ever, ever lie to a child. Never! You are a picture of trust. Bayis ne'aman b'Yisrael. That's white light. I live in a place where my parents will never tell me a lie. I can trust them. Rav Kalman Mustama remembers the story, I've said it over a few times, that one of my daughters, she was 5 at the time, she had an older brother who's 7, and he told her, you know you're adopted. Which nothing wrong with being adopted. But he meant to tease her. You know you're adopted, you're really not one of us. So she ran into her room, threw herself on the bed, and started screaming her head off. She just lost the whole family in one shot. So I sat down next to her and I said, I think she's our 10th child, but why would we adopt you? It didn't help at all. Of course, that ain't gonna help with a 5-year-old, that's reasoning. I said to her, I promise you you're not adopted, and that was the end of it. Never, ever heard me use that word before. You just always keep your word. Why? Because the thing called trust is the thing you need most to have a relationship with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Bitachon. In Los Angeles, they want me to talk about how to always have bitachon and trust God in all situations, no matter what. So I'm going to tell them, I don't know, I can't do that. I know someone who teaches mountain climbing in Denver, Colorado. He said the guy who only looked at the top of the mountain never makes it. Only the top of the mountain? What about halfway up? What about a quarter way up? We have to learn to be close to trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you can't trust your mother, Aleph Mem, mother means the first one I trusted. That's what the word means. So you tell the child, I'm leaving now. And you have to leave, the kid has to, of course the kid doesn't want you to leave. If you're doing a good job as a mother, of course the kid doesn't want you to leave. So you tell him, I'm leaving now, but I'll be back. And I always tell the truth, and you'll be back. Whether you're back an hour later, 2 hours later, here's the gun, I know what you should do. She saw it 400 times already. But you never lie to a child. Bayis ne'aman b'Yisrael. That's white light. Rav Matisyahu Shlita, he says, Avram went to chase after these 4 kings. They were superpower. In fact, they're the only superpower. They just conquered all the 5 kings of Sodom. So he went to chase them because they kidnapped Lot. Like, that's dangerous. Like, what are you dangerous? What are you doing? It's pikuach nefesh. So he said, Rav Matisyahu said like this, it's true, al pidin, straight halacha, I'm potter. But I promised Lot that I would do it. Once you promise someone, that's a different world. I promised him. In the Tanoim, when two people, they sign a agreement at the wedding hall that they're agreeing to get married. Yeah? That's what it says on this little document, which they break a plate over. All it says over there, we agree to get married, and it says nothing there about either of those applications. Never look at it tonight, it's just a reason to break a plate, that's all. It says there, neither of us will hide one from the other or anything. You're getting married. That's what you're talking about. The answer is, that's right. You just don't lie. They'll tell me you're allowed to lie if you're showing bias. It's a different subject. But just don't do it. Someone asked me, can you hit your child? You don't hit your children. It says, the one spare the rod, spoil the child. We're not good enough parents to hit our kids. Besides the fact that it's illegal. We're not good enough parents. It works. It works, hitting a kid and screaming. It works. And that's why you shouldn't do it. Because it's an addiction. If it works, and it's, what's the moving parts of an addiction? It works totally, and it works quickly. That's the gematria heroin. So of course you're going to do it again. Don't do it. Yeah? When you force kids to do things, they will eventually rebel and become teenagers. Because I was afraid of you. If I show my house brings down, there was one father, he always settled the arguments by force. So, he said, the kids would say, when our father comes in, we get less happy. But that's until they're 14 and 15. The answers would say, forget it, get out of here, who are you? You're not stronger than me anymore. Which comes to another piece of white light. So you never lie to your child. You are one person in the world that they can trust. One person in the world that they can trust. A home is a safe place. No matter what the child says, listen and hear. I get a call at the airport. Our daughter said she wants to commit suicide. What do we do? Now I'm not qualified to help them. What do you yell? Don't yell at her. Don't tell her you can't do it. Say why. What's the problem? Why do you want to leave us? Why? If the kid feels safe, he will tell you. In that case, it was a she. I told her, I think, by the teachers. I don't know. Yeah? There was a child in first grade who decided he's not going to school anymore. So instead of telling him how he has to go to school and how important it is to go to school, etc., they asked him why. Why aren't you going to school? He said, my father had a heart attack. I have to stay home to watch him. Maybe he asked why. It was reported because it was closed before. And here it is half empty, so there's no genie over here. But there is a genie. He actually poured it for me. I should have known better. I brought them a ride, the teachers. Shimon HaTzadik had a way of thinking. He had a shita. You're not supposed to become a Nazir. You're not supposed to become a Nazirite and grow your hair long and not drink wine and not, defile yourself to dead people. He held that strongly. He never would eat from the carbon of someone who's a Nazir. Because when they finished their term of Nazir, started doing a carbon, he wouldn't touch it. He didn't hold from it. One day, it happened, this person came from the south, and he was a Nazir. Shimon HaTzadik asked him, why'd you do this? He asked him why. And he told him why. And Shimon HaTzadik says, there should be many Nazirim like you. So Shlomo Hoffman said, he asked him why. I'm expanding on it. But he asked him why. He asked the kids why. Do they feel safe with you? One of the most common problems that I hear about is kids are closed. They don't talk. Like, why don't they talk? I'm not blaming anyone. But por favor, deixa eu beber água caliente, por favor. I can't say that to him because he knows what I mean. But if I talk to you, you won't respond at all. Tienes este problema, escribir en mi papel, por favor. Thank you. You should be blessed. And she is blessed and she should be blessed more. I will stop talking to you in Spanish because it doesn't help. If it doesn't help to talk, kids close up. It has to help. It has to always help. Help doesn't mean you're going to do what the kid says. Help means, I heard you, I accept where you are. The Vilna Gaon says this. I'm not against any from psychology books. I'm not against psychologists. My wife is one. Okay? But it's just, I'm not. That's all. That's not my calling card. It says the word shama has three meanings. Shama is the physical act of hearing. It says it's in Mishlei Dalet Pasuk Aleph. Has the same ideas in Yeshaya. The physical act of hearing is to hear. The second is to hear means to understand. The third is to accept. In English, it's the same three meanings. I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. First find a quiet place that you can hear the person. Don't be busy, don't multitask, which today means doing everything less well. Try and understand and accept that that's where they are. Then you have a chance, once you heard them, then maybe they can hear you. Okay? That's white light. Children have to trust you. It says, "Bayis ne'eman b'Yisrael," had to be a place where I could rely, I could feel safe. I'm part of the family. And kids who are not following quote unquote v'derech, there's no reason to if they're a bad influence on a younger sibling, so then you have to ask a question. That's a different question. But just because they're not from, doesn't mean they can't stay in your house. I mean, what's one thing I have to do? And I'm not a reform rabbi. I have a pizza from one person, Rav Scheinberg Zatzal. I didn't think I need any more smichas. Whoever doesn't think that's good enough, I don't want to work for. And so what I have to go collect smichas for? This is a minute. I was going to say, over tomorrow, there was a very great Jew. And those who were zeicher to know him have a right to be mechanchim. That was a Henach Leibowitz, zecher tzaddik b'vrocha. Okay? We were close. He rewarded me to check out a shidduch for one of his relatives. He writes in this week's parsha, yeah? Yehuda went to Yosef and said, he said, "You want to see our son?" Yeah? Our brother. That's what he's talking about. You're not a reliable person. One day you're going to be, I'll kill you and I'll kill the king. The king is also not reliable. Because there's a law, someone who's a servant can't be a king. A foreigner can't be a king. And he doesn't keep his word. He broke the law when it's good for him. He's not reliable. The king is not reliable. You're going to be, one day you'll fall out of graces, and then I'll get you. You remember something? Yeah? You can't trust somebody, you can have a relationship with them. There's priorities in life. People have to know what's important, what's more important. When I originally arranged this flight, I arranged economy, even though it's 18 hours of traveling. Because the money was more important to me than the seat. But then I did a stupid thing, I got pneumonia. And then after that I got bronchitis. So then I upgraded myself because my health is more important than the money. You have to have priorities in life. Then you know what to do. Or you know what to ask. What's the shayla? Maybe they both seem the same. They're never the same. The white light is figure out what are you doing here. This woman wants to go to Canada to her friend's wedding. And she'll miss a week. Her 2-year-old will not have his mother. When should I tell her? That means to this woman, going to her friend's wedding, which means for 10 minutes she'll dance with her, and she'll be glad to see her, and then after that the collar's going to look at somebody else. For that, his 2-year-old is going to be missing his mother for a week. It's hard for them. They don't feel safe. They feel out of... If your priority is more that, or questions you got to ask about what profession should I go into? One that makes money, or one that I find meaningful? You know, it depends. What's more important to you? With priorities, when you know what life is for, so then, where's the white light? Then I know what to do. I know when it's green, I know when it's yellow, I know when it's blue. Okay. One more point, and then we'll have time for questions. If your children are not successful in school or socially, academically, they still have a home. You know, I tell teachers to kids who are coming from very difficult homes, how do you deal with them? This is a different country. It's not your home. Here, you can complain about something. Here, you know, I'll treat you differently. There are rules here, but it's a different country. People don't leave countries that they like. Well, I'm not talking here to teachers. Your home is a place, it's a different country. You'll never get a better friend than a parent. Now, I want to tell you something very important. A parent is a child's best friend, but not his equal. That's balance. Yeah? I'm your friend, but I'm not your equal. For your sake, you need to look up to me. That means I have to behave myself. I can't tell you to look up to me. I have to be someone that you look up to. You want to teach respect? Respect your wife. Respect your husband. But the home is a different country. You know what? And I want to finish the way we began. Every generation has its hardships. Almost no one was able to survive the 70 years of communism. Almost no one. So why did Hashem do that? Now, I can't tell you what you know, definitively. But the great people that came out of there, Rabbi Schwinkel said, Rabbi Yitzhak Zilber was worth all of Soviet Jewry. Because no one like that could have been produced without that. The diamond is produced under great pressure. The one in Chulin, that for generations and generations, people were making a mistake. They were bowing down to this copper snake. And the Gemara says, in order to give Chizkiah HaMelech something to do, for the sake of one tzaddik, equality. There's madregas that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to see, and it's enough one person. I'm not saying that's definitive. But I want to get to a point over here. There's only one divine computer, and I don't know how to run it. You have to, this is the white light. In your relationship with your child, it's not the same the way it was. Children are growing up, feeling entitled, feeling that I know more about technology than my parents. I know what's going on. My parents don't know what's going on. That's how they're growing up. There's a Jew named David Lukins. I don't know if that name means anything to anyone here. Very wonderful Jew. He was the advisor to Pat Moynihan, who was a senator from New York. He's had an interesting life. His Rebbe was Rabban Soloveitchik, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, Chicago. So he told me, Rabban Soloveitchik, when David Lukin's asked him a question, he would say to him, tell me what you know, and then I'll tell you what I think. You know, the guy who's the head of a banana company, he doesn't have to know how to read. He doesn't have to know how to drive. He doesn't have to know anything. All he needs to know is how to sell bananas. Okay? That's his white light. How do you sell bananas? That's his function. Rabban Soloveitchik's head, he didn't know all these details. Just tell me what you know and I'll tell you what I think. What I think is gold. Okay? So, the edge that parents have is they've been through life. They know the white light. They're trusted. They're loved by children, and it's, how do you teach kids to respect the teacher? By you respecting them. And it's probably maybe the first time this kid was respected. Put out the effort to know where this kid is. He may be in completely different places than you were 30, 40 years ago. But will he tell you? The worst diseases Hashem should protect us are the ones that don't have any pain. You don't know if you don't even realize you're sick. I want my body to talk to me. I want my body to talk to me. I want to know what's going on. If a child tells you that there's a monster under his bed, don't say there's no monster. It's my opinion, okay? I don't see any monster. But any monster in this house I can handle. If the kid trusts you, he will go to sleep. In 1991, there was a Gulf War. Our kids were afraid of Scud missiles, which is understandable. I mean, how old are they in 1991? I have to take out my 2 dads hood to find out how old they are. Yeah? But there were a bunch of kids who were 8, 9, 10. The oldest ones were born in 1972. So they were 9. And there was an 8-year-old also. And a 6-year-old also. They're afraid of Scud missiles. So my wife pulled up one of her mentors, she was in Canada, and she said to her, tell them you will take care of them. Now, it doesn't mean that I can put out my hand to stop a Scud missile. But I will take care of you. The best of my ability, I will take care of you. And then calm them down completely. I'll take care of you. They have to trust you. That's white light. There are things you can't compete with them. I got a new computer. This computer is on its last legs, mamish. Yeah? So I told the teacher, the computer came 2 days ago. I said, you have to teach me how to use it, and you have to be patient with me. I'd rather give 10 shiurim than learn this. Once, my wife asked me to fix a broken bulb in the ceiling. So I got up on a ladder, took out a screwdriver, and put it in, threw it out. I didn't turn off the electricity. Right. It must have been bad electricity in that house, because not only was our house shorted out, that the apartment above was shorted out, which is probably illegal electricity. Illegal. She never asked me again to fix anything. Instead, you see here, 10 thumbs. Okay? There are a lot of things we don't know, but they're technical. Do you know how to sell bananas? You can be CEO of Chiquita. Yeah? Your parents. You want to hear what they have to say, and they trust you. They won't find that anywhere else. I don't care if it's 2020, or 2030, 2040, it doesn't matter. You're not replaceable. That's the white light. And don't forget to daven. Don't forget to pray. Someone came to Chaim Kanievsky with all kinds of problems, and he said to him, daven. I know, but I have to make a stubbornness. I have to put out my effort. He says, yes, that's davening. Don't think you can do it yourself. You can't do anything yourself. But we've touched some of the white light, which means in those things, there's never a change in parent-child relationships. As far as stages, young kids, you have to take care of their physical and emotional needs. You You have to believe in them. Once the kid starts walking, you can believe you can do things here. Shlomo Hoffman also writes, but these are things I knew before. He says kids who know how to walk properly and sit properly can be given responsible to carry glass things around and they won't break it. It's only because you don't believe they can do it. And you're worried about they might break it. Then they break it. And if they break it once, so you say, yeah, I would break it also. He might break it also. That's okay. But they learn how to hold the glass without you teaching them. They see you. As the kid goes older, you have to, Yaakov was the example of a successful parent. One of the things he did, it says over there, Yaakov, when he was leaving Lovis, his brothers came to help him out. Who were his brothers? His children. I'm not embarrassed to ask my children for advice. Of course I'll ask them for advice. What do you think? Doesn't matter at all. If they know more, so I'll ask them. They're my brothers. I have 5 sons-in-law. They all talk to me. Why? Because you don't have to listen to me. It's no threat at all. That's white light. That relationship, as the kid gets older, you transfer more and more responsibility. Believe in them. And if you believe in them, so then they'll come and talk to you about it. But the white light never changes. Sometimes it's this way, and sometimes that. You don't hit your kids. Don't hit your kids. And I'll tell you how much and have to stop because it's after the time. I remember a case about 2 years ago. A couple came to me and they had a question, had a problem. It seems the father had hit his kid with a cane across the throat. And the mother wanted to take the child to the doctor. But the child hit the father across the throat, and then the father hit him back the same way. And the mother wanted to take the kid to the doctor. If she would have done that, he would have gone to jail. Because the doctor has to report it. I think that's true in this country also. But that wasn't the problem they're coming to me about. After the kid hit his father and the father hit his kid, the father sat down to eat a calm breakfast. That bothered the kid. You were so upset, and you hit me, and you eat a calm breakfast. That means you don't care about me. That was the problem. Not the hitting. Yeah, which I'm not saying that wasn't, but that's indicative. The hitting was indicative. Whatever happened, 30, 40, 50, 60, to me, to think of speaking back to my father, one, it's like, what are you talking about? It just doesn't happen. Call my father by his first name, or say, what do you know? It just, but you know something? Then is not now. It's a different door shabach masecha. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. Follow this white light. And yes, there are changes and there are stages. But you'll be Metzliach. Are there any questions? Yes?
What if a child is lied to by somebody else? Another person is either an older relative or...
Is lied to, yeah.
How does a parent deal with explaining or not explaining, or making the other person look bad?
It's a hard question. I just have a personal problem with lying. He's Machal Shabbos, doesn't wear yarmulke, doesn't make brachas, that's easy. Yeah? He grew up differently. He doesn't know better. We don't judge people. You have to know where people are coming from. Just like this kid thinks that, he needs to stay home to watch his father. That's where he's coming from. Find out where he's coming from. Lying is like a problem. You won't find in any of my books anything with the kid who's a liar. Okay? It's a problem. But we could say, I don't understand what he's doing. But in our house we don't do that. In our house we don't do that. In our house we never speak about anyone. My daughter says to me, she's about 30 now, Zit Soremli. In Ivrit, that means it hurts my ears if I hear someone talking about someone else. It never happens. We just don't do it. It's not that I lecture to them how you're not supposed to speak Lashon Hara, you don't speak. It just never happened. It just never happened. I said, did I ever speak any Lashon Hara? It just doesn't happen. Yeah, there's no crosses in my house. Okay? When I was Mashgiach, I actually took down, before Purim, they put up flags. So I tore down the Swiss flag and the British flag. Now, the United Synagogue allows British flags in the shuls. It's okay. If they allow it, then it's mutter. Yeah? It's the Torah Jews. Yeah? I can't see a British flag in the Beis Medrash because I know it's all crosses. Yeah? The Swiss flag. Yeah? You won't find any crosses in my house. It's just not going to happen. You can come and check if you want. If it doesn't happen, if it never happens in your house, you just say, I don't understand. We don't put anyone down. We don't do that. Is your house a nice place to be or not? We try to help our children learn from natural consequences instead of parental orchestrated reward and punishment. Absolutely right. If you use reward and punishment too much, all you're doing is telling this kid, you do things because it's good for you. It's worth it for me to do this. Or I better not do this. It's not worth it for me to do this. There's nothing going on inside. He just wants to do, if it pay. Rewards are for something that are hard and not part of daily life. You don't pay kids to get dressed or clean up their room or brush their teeth. You pay them for that. By the way, the price keeps going up. In 1948, the exchange rate between Arab prisoners and Israeli prisoners was 1-for-1. Until they found out they were willing to pay. Aha! So the price is going up like 400 to 1, and we keep paying. I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but the price goes up. What about when there are no natural consequences? First of all, there's no natural consequences now. Most things they shouldn't do have consequences, but further along the road. Yeah? Okay? Sometimes you can tell a child, I was disappointed. So if he cares about what you think, so you being disappointed means something. If it doesn't, so then maybe he's happy that he disappointed you. Okay, that also happens. I told the story to the teachers about it. He's happy if you don't have nachas from me. Yeah. I'm disappointed. A child lies to you or steals. I guess we can't trust you. Anything you say, how do I know you're right? It's the Gemara in Sanhedrin. The punishment for a liar is even when he tells the truth, you don't believe him. So that's a natural consequence. The reason natural consequences are better is because it teaches them about life. You're not trying to change this behavior. You want them to know how to live. Encouraging responsibility in terms of timing. When different reasons often come that they're running late does not cause them to miss the boat. If running late does not cause them to miss the boat, why shouldn't they run late? I was once, I won't say anything from Orlowek, I was once a principal, and the parents say, I can't get my kid out to the bus on time. I said, it's not your problem, it's my problem. Because if we don't care about coming on time, why should he come on time? So the school teachers don't check homework, the kids will not do it. Like, why should I do it? If running late does not cause them to miss the boat, now sometimes if you enlarge this, kids are always protected by their parents. And everything, they do, we help them out. So they're turning them into cripples. Sometimes, you have to learn there are consequences. There's no consequences, why are you making me do this? The kids who wait till the last second. But they do it. Yeah. One of my children I will not travel with. Everything is the last minute. I'm sorry, he can't. Rabbi Bauman knows I have a disease called airportitis. Airportitis in Ivrit. Yeah? I have to be there earlier. Okay? I won't travel with this kid. It's everything the last minute. So first I used to worry about him missing the flights or missing the tender, and he did. So he missed the tender. I'm not going to take him. If he doesn't care about missing school, that's a problem in itself. Why? If they're running late, it doesn't cause them to miss the bus, and they're not running late. For example, manipulating another child to do what they want them, when in the end everyone says it was fun. It depends on the ages, but the younger one, you can say, you don't have to listen to your brother. Not saying anything negative about his brother, but you have choice. But this is very common, because kids look up to older siblings. For example, not doing homework or something when they get good grades anyways. It's a problem. A very high intelligence is a learning disability. It's a handicap. I was a mashgiach for 2.5 years in a junior high school for geniuses. I was the stupidest guy in the place. Yeah? It's a problem. There's a book that one of the guys in Machon Shlomo gave me. It's called Mindset. People who have a lot of natural talent, whether it's physical or emotional or financial, so they end up failing because they never learn to work. And as soon as they got to a point, like Murphy says, you rise to a job you're not qualified for, they flunk. Because they have to work. They don't know how to work. Very bright kids are in trouble. More than a kid who worked hard and is of lower intelligence. They get further. Okay? What do? You give them challenges. Short challenges, enjoyable challenges, sometimes with a tutor who knows how to do this, and they taste the taste of working. But in school, they don't have to. It's true, they don't have to. That's the reality. Like I told the teachers before, if school was a good idea, Moshe Rabbeinu would make one. Schools are not a good idea. Yeah? Okay? Beis Yaakov. Woman should be with her mother. But there's no Klal Yisrael with that Beis Yaakov today. Soreshni has saved us completely. We would not be here if not for her. What's the Takanas Chachamim? What's the Takanas Chachamim? It's an adjustment to a new reality. The Torah halacha is the way things are supposed to be. You're going to give me a siddur and tell me what to say? I can't talk to God myself. You think Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't have made a siddur? It became necessary. Muksa. You forgot it's Shabbos, you might pick up a pen, it's muksa, because if you pick it up, you may forget it's Shabbos. What normal person forgets it's Shabbos? But if you come to a generation that they forget it's Shabbos, you have to make a takana. That's every takana chacham is like that. We should have been in exile, we should have behaved ourselves. Pesach, Sukkot, Shavuos, that's when we behaved ourselves. Hanukkah and Purim is when we didn't behave ourselves. What do you do then? That's the takana chacham. What do you do when you don't behave yourself? Sick people need different dosages of things that, So you get good grades anyway, challenge them. Get them a tutor to challenge them. School's not going to change, but they have to know what it means to work. For example, davening. My son is a principal of 2 schools in Jerusalem. He said the problem with davening in Israel is the kids understand what they're saying, and in America the problem is that they don't understand what they're saying. Little by little, Jerusalem was not built in a day. You give them something to think about during davening. For 10 nanoseconds, they're able to daven. Ata choinen la'adam das. You give free gift of das to a person. Oh, my intelligence is a gift? Do you know what a gift that is to a child who's gifted? They become arrogant. But if they say that tefillah and they know what it means, then they know it's a gift. Thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the gift. They don't become arrogant. That's what davening does do. Where his power means to get yourself to think. That's what it means. So, davening, like everything else, dia al dia. Kada dia, dia al dia. Every day by day. A little bit, treasure a little bit. Then a little bit can become something. If it's only everything, people who look at the top of the mountain never make it. Put away to finish your talk. Is there something else? Never make it. There's different kinds of speaking. They're speaking when you... The Ramban, at the beginning of Lechachot, says, Maisa Ovis Simon Lebanon. What the Ovis did, that was talking. What they did was talking. You came here tonight on the chance that maybe I'll be a better parent. That's a prayer. Hashem should fulfill your prayers.